Very good. So we will be recording this and we will be posting it on our official YouTube channel so that people who are not going to be here and are not able to be with us at this time will be able to go to the YouTube channel and you know, connect and watch the video. So I would suggest that we begin by introducing ourselves. Since I have the mic, let me tell you that my name is Linda Campani. I'm the director of the program. I teach film, and I can't wait to have the students back with us in Florence after this long hiatus, which is now well over a year. So let me turn it over to Alessio. I follow the order that I see on my screen, so it's absolutely random. Alessio.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alessio. I am the program administrator of the Bright Center for Obesity Studies in Florence, and my main job is money and everything connected with it. But I work together with all my colleagues in other aspects for the program, such as events, trips, and all that stuff. Also, problems connected with the technology. I will do my best to fix them.
Thank you, Alessio. And then I see Fosuke da Sierno.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Fosuke, and I'm the program coordinator here at Stanford in Florence. Good morning or good evening. It's very early morning here. It's a beautiful day. I mostly deal with anything academic or culturally related. So I work a lot with our local faculty or visiting faculty, obviously with students on their classes. I work with my colleagues on our events and activities. And of course, all of your, anything having to do with your life in Florence. So housing, extracurriculars, anything like that, your woman.
Thank you, Fosuke. And I follow and I see Francesca Bianchi.
Hi, good morning. My name is Francesca. I'm one of the Italian language instructor. I used to live in Shanghai. I came back to Italy almost 3 years ago now. And I've been working for Stanford in Florence ever since. And I can't wait to go back to class and to teach Italian again in person.
Thank you, Francesca. Thank you. And then there is, I see another of our language instructors, Fiorenza Quercioli.
Hi, everyone. I'm Fiorenza. I'm one of the other language instructors and the language coordinator. So my work is all about language teaching, and other co-curricular activities. I also work with my other colleagues on many aspects of the program, and I miss having students here in Florence at the program a lot at the moment.
Thank you, Fiorenza. And now we have Giovanni Rastrelli, who's under Stanford University in Italy label because he had some problems connecting to Zoom via his account.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Giovanni. I am the Academic and Student Services Coordinator. And as you can see, we are a small staff, so we help each other and we do together a lot of things, and we work together in a lot of tasks. I'm in charge also of public service and sports, and I also cooperate with my co-workers on events, and especially a series of events that we are having at the center called Drop-in Lunches, that we organize these lunches that hopefully we can do starting in autumn with some guests to learn more about Italy and Europe and what's going on this side of the world, and not only on this side of the world. And we are, I'm working a lot now on public service. So if you guys are interested in knowing more about what you can do while you're here in terms of public service or community building here, I am the right person for you. So let me know, and welcome again to this Zoom.
Thank you, Giovanni. Thank you. May we ask the two students here on my screen, Anna is right after Giovanni, to introduce themselves briefly. And then we will be raising questions and ask you to ask us any and all questions that you might have about the program. Giovanna, Anna, would you like to start, please?
Yes, I can start. Good morning or good evening. I know for me it's 12:30 a.m., but it was important for me to come. So hello. I'm a rising junior at Stanford, and I am majoring in public policy, and I'm really excited about the potential to study abroad in Florence.
Thank you, and welcome to this Zoom. And Hong Lee?
Hi, I'm Hong, and I am a current freshman right now, and I'm thinking of maybe planning to stay abroad in my sophomore, junior year, and I'm like considering Florence as an option. So yeah, I'm here to explore and learn more.
Thank you, Hong. So if you have any pressing questions that you'd like to ask of any of us, we will be happy to start with those, and then each of us can raise some questions or issues or highlight some parts of their job or activities and things that we all think that might be of interest to the students. But let me turn the floor back to you, the students here, to see if you have any questions.
I have a quick question, just like one of the reasons I look into Florence is because there's like no language prereq. So it's like a good thing, like just a lower barrier of entry, but at the same time, I was wondering if that can like have an impact on how much I can get out of like just, studying abroad without some kind of base knowledge of the language coming in, and like how does that impact my experience there, or is there a way to like help with that, I guess?
Yeah, thank you. This is a great question, and I'm going to turn it over to our language instructors in a moment. Let me say that you touch upon a very critical issue of our program and of study abroad in general, because clearly going to a country whose language you practice and is better than the other way around. We used to have a rather massive language prerequisite of a year of Italian of every student coming to the program. That was lifted a few years back, precisely for the reasons that you're indicating, to make it possible for more students to come abroad. So we lifted the language prerequisite, but we keep encouraging students to take some Italian before they come over. In fact, we tend to privilege, when we read the applications, we tend to privilege those applicants who can show some commitment to wanting to study in Florence. And that is, nicely expressed by reading on somebody's transcript that they've taken some Italian language on campus. However, not for everybody, this is a possibility. And the reasons have to do with majors, they have to do with all kinds of requirements and personal inclination. And so what we do is, we teach Italian on site, and that is mandatory. So there's no prerequisite before you come over, but there will be a requisite for every student to take Italian once they're at Florence. And I have to tell you, and again, I'm going to turn it over to Francesca and Firenze, that once the students get here, the motivation to learn at least some language is so big that the progress that they make is huge, and also, because you live in the country where the language is spoken. So even those who come with absolutely no Italian can count on leaving the country with a good, but again, Francesca and Firenze, if you want to take it, because this is really, for you to say. But I wanted to contextualize this question because it's an important one, and it has programmatic reverberations. on a number of activities that we do. And so, Francesca.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing, what you said, is that I really suggest to take Italian before coming to Italy, just because it is important to, like, learning Italian helps you getting to know the Italian culture as well. So if you already have some Italian, when you come to Italy, you already have an idea of what to expect. However, it is not an obstacle at all if you decide not to take Italian before coming to Florence, because once you come here, you will have the possibility to learn to study Italian with us every day for at least 1 hour a day. And what is peculiar about our classes is that we use communicative approach, which means that every time that we want to explain the meaning of a word or to explain a grammar rule, we always use Italian, so that even your listening skills improve very quickly. So it's a really fast process, even if you do not have Italian, if you haven't studied Italian before. So yeah, it's either way, you will learn Italian and the Italian culture as well. I don't know if Fiorenza wants to add anything.
For sure, for sure. Thank you,
Yes.
Francesca. Fiorenza, on to you now.
Thank you. Of course, if you learn the language where the language is spoken and you are immersed in a completely Italian environment, your progress in the learning of the language is very, very quick, much more than if you study the language on campus or abroad in any case. So even if you come with no Italian, in a couple of weeks, in 3 weeks, you'll be able to handle at least the more common everyday linguistic and culture situations. Of course, if you come with at least 1/4 of Italian, in our experience, you can improve your language skills really very, very faster.
Thank you, Fiorenza. Thank you very much. Has that answered your question, Hong? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I have a question that pertains to the arts in Florence. I'm really involved in dance at Stanford, and I really enjoy the arts generally, and it's one of the main things that drew me to Florence. I was looking to hear, it's kind of a specific question, but if there's somewhat of opportunities in, I know like the certain classes, like the building the cathedral, that one that interests me in the fall. But I was wondering if there are specific opportunities that could be spoken of in terms of dance. And my secondary question would be, Giovanni, I'd really love to hear about public service in Florence. So thank you.
Thank you, Anna. And again, before we turn it over to Giovanni, it's also a great question that touches upon some of the things into which students are most interested. I'd like, again, to provide a little bit of a context, some sort of a philosophical set of ideas, and that is that we try, wherever and whenever it is possible, we try to help students find here the activities or some segue to the activities that they are normally, well-versed on and that they do on the home campus. And so if you're a dancer, if you're a musician, if you play tennis, if you're an athlete of sorts, Giovanni is the point person, Fosuke is there to help as well. But we want you to be able to be engaged in some activities here that you like, that you're good at, or that you're learning. You may also not be good at a particular activity, but the purpose is not only to enable you to, of course, pursue an interest of yours, but the purpose is also to help you get better integrated into Italian culture. So, so if you play tennis, you stand a much better chance to meet people than if you don't. If you get engaged in public service, and by people, I mean Italians who, and you know, you meet them around an interest of yours, and so it's more likely that a friendship will ensue. So absolutely, we want to be able to help students pursue their interests, their extracurricular, co-curricular interests and goals as much as possible here in Florence. Our goal, our perspective on it being twofold, you know, you do what you like, but you also are on a path to more organic and holistic integration. But now let me turn it over to Giovanni and to Fosuke, of course.
Yes, so first, I'm really happy every time students want to play sport or getting engaged in the local community. So for us, it's really important for you guys to, as Professor Campani says, to get into our city, get into our culture and meet people and build up a community. And about that, we are about to launch this public service program, which hopefully going to start in fall. And the project is mainly work with refugees and integration for migrants. And on the other side, we will work on food waste and sustainability. So there are two big projects that we are working on. The first one concerning integration and immigration will work with an important NGOs operating in Italy, Florence, and Europe is a big one, Oxfam. I don't know if you ever heard about it, but we will try to develop a kind of app that is going to map the city in terms of services and all the assistance that migrants can receive and refugees can receive when they first arrive in Florence. So the students who will get involved in this project will actually helping to map the city in terms of those services available for a migrant, and also actually meet some young migrants just arrived in Florence and help them to approach the city and together discover the city with them. This one side of the project that we are really happy and willing to start soon. And the other one is on food waste and sustainability. So it became for us as a center and a priority to get our center more sustainable and to reduce all kind of waste that we did in the past and we want to avoid in the future. So we'll work on develop some kind of activities and behaviors that are going to reduce the waste on our center. We are also planning to have a small vegetable garden on our center. So trying to start to deal with how to produce food, how to use food, how not waste food. So it's all exciting for us to start this new project, and we really would like for you students to become part of it and give us your support and ideas and creativity to get into this new phase of our center and on study abroad.
And these two projects, which are separate from each other, Giovanni has been working or has gotten the Haas Center on board, and so they're not only on board, but they're helping in many capacities. Fosuke, would you like to?
Yeah.
I did want to go back to Anna's question about dance, just to underline that Florence is a really good choice for the arts in general, and a lot of students in the past have. I don't know what kind of dance you practice, but there's a big culture here. And so I wanted you to know that in terms of you being able to perform your art and also just being able to see what Florence is doing in terms of dance, it's a pretty exciting place, I think. And so I don't know which quarter you're thinking of, or maybe you're coming or you're applying, same thing for Hong. But what I wanted to encourage the both of you to do today is to stay in touch with us. And so I know, Hong, you're undecided, you're going to apply at some point, it sounds like, you know, for the next academic year. And I'm not sure when you're coming, but drop us an email, either to Stanford and Florence at stanford.edu, or to any one of us in terms of what, you know, which question, now that you've met us, you know, what we all kind of handle. But I think that as you're planning your time here, it's a good thing for you to reach out to us again and say, okay, you know what, I've applied, I'm coming, you know, in fall 2022, I want to get hooked up with a dance school, give me some options. Or I've enrolled in a quarter of Italian and I'm so excited to come to Florence next quarter, whatever. We're here to answer your questions, but also to help shape what your quarter will look like. And we're so happy to do that. It's just something that we really want to do. We want you all to have the best experience for you that touches on everything that you're hoping to accomplish during your time in Florence. That's all.
Thank you, Fosuke. Thank you. This was very important. And thank you, Giovanni, as well, to the both of you. Is this answering your questions, Anna?
Oh yeah, that was very helpful. I'll definitely reach out because yeah, the arts is really what drew me to Florence. And I mean, it's like my passion. So being able to like immerse myself in that for a quarter is really important to me. And I also wanted to ask Giovanni a quick question in terms of that public service. What's kind of like, I guess, the time commitment and how that looks like, versus maybe I know there's like internship experiences that are also possible in Florence. So what are kind of the differences?
Okay, it's depend. It's up to you. You know, it's depend how much time you can give to this kind of project. If you think that those projects are too time consuming for you, and you have the dance, and you have like classes to follow, whatever, we can find some like easier solution for you in terms of public service or internship or activities that you can do if available, of course. But for example, if you have like just few hours every week, I can help you to find some association that are working in different fields, from integration and migrants, or helping kids teaching English, or we have many associations working on the here locally. So you can also find some kind of activity that requests you to volunteer for an hour or two every week. So it's not a problem. It depends a lot of what you like, what you're interested into, what you would like to do while you're here. But we can definitely find a way for you to get engaged in the local community in many possible ways. So don't worry about that. Time is not a big deal. If you have an interest, and we can find you a place to go, is not a problem.
Thank you. That's really nice to hear. Yeah.
Thank you, Giovanni. Any other questions? Otherwise, we will each try to, or I'll raise some questions for us to highlight some other aspects of our program.
I have two more questions, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
No, I really love this program. I'm very excited to apply. I was going to ask, I know for fall, I'm not sure if it will continue into winter and spring, but it won't be at home, like with a family anymore. It's going to be at a student residence. I was wondering, since that is, such perhaps a large part of kind of immersing yourself in the culture, I know that another program that y'all have had is connecting students like myself with other like Florence people that are in our same age range. Will that program still be available, or what are other ways that, to supplement the fact that we won't be having that, at home as traditionally is?
Thank you, Anna. This is also very interesting, and I'd like to invite Fosuke to talk about housing, and then again, Francesca and Fiorenza to talk about the language exchange program and how students are sort of paired with their Italian counterparts. Fosca, on the housing, please.
So, Anna, as you rightly say, the current situation is dictating our choice of housing for the students. So right now it's definite for the fall, and then we will see, okay, unfortunately. I mean, we have to live with this sort of flexibility, if you will, this newfound flexibility. Having said that, we are buttressing other, let's say we're not getting rid of our host family. So we're trying to find creative ways. In fact, we have a meeting coming up with our host families. We're trying to find creative ways whereby students can sort of still have very much an experience of an Italian family, even though you're living in a student residence. So we're still working out the details on that, but there are so many ways that we want you, we really think that this is of fundamental importance for your experience here. So the kind of integration we've been talking about since the beginning of the meeting. We're really working creatively on ways where you can find those opportunities easily. Having said that, going back to dance, the best way to also get that integration, I know it was mentioned before, but a lot of students in the past have done dance, and they've actually cited it on their evaluations as the best experience because they met young Italians. So I think between, doing something extracurricularly that is, going to expose you to Italians, as Professor Campani said, around a similar interest, plus having interaction with locals that we will arrange for you, right? Whether it be through the Friends Firenze program, which my colleagues are about to talk to you about, or using our host families, not in the traditional capacity, but they will be present in some form when you come to Florence. I'm not sure, you mentioned the fall, so you're applying for this fall.
Yes, I'll be applying for the fall, and if not then the winter, and if not then the spring. So until I land it. Yes.
We're counting, we're counting on the fall, Anna. So hopefully we'll be seeing you very soon. Hopefully we'll be seeing, but not to worry. Even if you do come in the fall, you will find a home. Okay.
No, I think that's lovely that I love to hear that this host family will still be included, even if we're not living with them. That's great. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, and I also would like to add that the choice of the student hotel is not, the fact that we're placing all students there has to do some with the pandemic, but we were already looking and will continue to use the student hotel in the future, possibly maybe giving the option to the students who want either a dorm solution or a family solution. So the student hotel is not actually something that that we're using as a sort of a safety net. It is a safety net, and it's better for the students to be there at this time, but it is not something that we're just evaluating for the circumstances in which we find ourselves. There is an idea that we're going to implement in the future, that the students be given a choice as to whether they want to live in more like, dorm-like situation or in a homestay. And so it's not a sort of a second-rate opportunity, the student hotel, which is not what Fosuke intended at all. But I just want to say that moving forward, if, say, God forbid, you were to have to come in the spring of 22, you might find on your housing form a question asking, would you rather be in the student hotel or live in a homestay? And so the student hotel is a website that we encourage you to look at. It's a very nice place, and it's going to be an international place full of students. So it's an exciting option as well. Can we speak, starting this time with Fiorenze and then with Francesca, about the Friends Firenze program, which is the language exchange program?
Yes, so if you want to have a friend at Firenze, which is a language partner, basically, you can ask for one when you write your housing form. There is a part completely devoted to this activity. And we pair you with an Italian university student according to your mutual interests and probably major, at least, field of study. Then you can meet with him or her virtually when you still are in the USA, so you get to know each other little by little, and you'll meet in person during orientation in Florence. Okay, from that moment you can begin scheduling your meetings according to your academic and personal needs. You can do whatever you prefer together, from going just to have a coffee and chat over it, or have lunch together, or even study together at the center. Besides that, there is another program connected and actually completely organized by 2-3 Italian students. It's a program of events and outings with Friends Firenze, both Stanford students and Italian students. And you go together to visit, for instance, the places where young Italians usually have lunch or a snack, or you go together to visit a special place in Florence or nearby Florence, like a new museum, a new place for young Italians. All these activities are completely free. I mean, it's up to you to ask for a friend of Firenze, but I want to stress that it's a wonderful opportunity to improve your knowledge, not only of the language, but also of the Italian youth culture and of the city as well, okay? Because you get to know places in the city that usually are not touristic, okay? And you can also decide to go to all or some of the outings and events scheduled by our student workers, okay? Of course, I and Francesca monitor all these activities, but they are very much on your personal responsibility and how much you want to get from them in terms of language and culture acquisition.
Thank you, Fiorenza. Thank you very much. Francesca, would you like to add anything? What makes this project exciting? Why should somebody do it and get engaged with local Italians?
I think it is very important, especially during the fall quarter, since, as you were said, both Fosca and Anna were saying that they're not staying in families, so they do not have like Italian brothers and sisters. So these Italian students can actually become your Italian siblings, or you can really, like, if you decide to meet regularly throughout the quarter, it really can become a lifelong friendship, like because we've seen through the years that a lot of friendship were born during the through this Friends of Firenze program. And another thing that I would like to add to everything that Fiorenza said already is that the group events that our Friends of Firenze organize is that they are open to anyone. So they're not open just to those who have a Friend of Firenze. So you can decide whether to be matched, to be paired with an Italian university student, but if you decide not to have a Friend of Firenze, you can still participate to every event that they organize. So this is another positive part about this program, is that you can still meet Italian people even if you do not have one friend of Firenze. If you want to know, and this is the last thing that I'm going to say, I promise, I'm sorry. If you want to know a little bit more about the Friends of Firenze program, we did a couple of Instagram Live a few weeks ago, and you can find them on our Instagram profile, so that you get to know, like, we interview 2 of our Friends of Firenze, so that if you want to know a little bit more about the program, and you want to get to know a little bit more about 2 of our Friends of Firenze, you can find it on our Instagram profile page. That's it. I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you. And in the meantime, Fosuke has also posted the website of the student hotel. Is your question answered, Anna?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm glad that I didn't know because of COVID if that program, how that would still be. So I'm glad to hear that will still be there.
With we will follow, since you mentioned COVID, we will follow all the protocols that are mandated by the local authorities, and also the Stanford protocols, and we will of course make sure that we will follow them both. We'll go with the stricter if there is a discrepancy between the 2, but we will make sure that all of our activities are actually under the aegis of these prescriptions, and so you shouldn't. But this one is a great opportunity, and it has a nature that is so flexible, and so it's really a way for you to make some friends here, and then to go about doing things with them in town. Other questions?
Very last one, and then I definitely want to hear what y'all have to say on your own accounts. But I was going to ask, I know that normally there's a Bing trip that happens. I was wondering if that would still be in place.
Shall we hear Alessio's voice on this question? Alessio is our
Here I am.
No, he pays for these trips. That's all.
A question for each one of you.
Yeah. Of course, we will go on with the Bing events when and if the government laws here will actually tell us that we can do that safely. So we can wait to go back to that, because especially Bing trips are very beautiful, even for us, being there with you and having fun. So the answer is yes, if the authorities will let us do that.
And in any case, if the restrictions were such that we would not be able, for example, to go south, or to take a flight, or to go long distances, we are still looking at implementing a whole set of activities, maybe more local than afar, that would give you or expose you to all kinds of experiences and opportunities. So what we will do is try and strike the hopefully right balance between being absolutely safe and in line with whatever the Italian government and Stanford tell us to do, and at the same time not to deprive you of what are marvelous co-curricular and enriching opportunities on a number of levels, because we have great dinners, we go to great art places, we sometimes go to soccer games. So there's a plethora of events and activities, and we try to keep the Bing events as multifaceted as possible, because we want to be able to to appeal to the interest or the different fields of interest of our students. And so, but don't worry, that there will be some great activities, regardless of whether or not we can do a Bing event proper as we've known them up till now. Any other thoughts on this?
I was just going to say that that's great to hear. And I mean, the way vaccination rates are looking up, it's promising, I hope. So that's great.
Yeah, me too, and we do too. There was a good article, good, but sobering to a degree. They were talking about tourists on the New York Times yesterday. It was quite interesting, but of course, the rollout of vaccines is the key thing to be able to travel and for all of us to resume our activities. Now, Florence has a lot of, and Italy as a whole, they have a lot of American schools here. And just as of yesterday, I learned, well, there are a few schools in Florence with small groups of students. Among them is on site, that is, one of them is Syracuse and then NYU and others. But there are students coming, a big group for Gonzaga. Kent University is running a summer program. So things are moving fast and students are coming back. In fact, I think faster than I thought they would, because of course, Stanford, which is very conservative, and I think rightly so, made the decision not to host a summer program. I think it was the right decision. Things are still, evolving as we speak, and so I'm happy with Stanford's decision and feel it's the best one. But at the same time, I see that things around us are picking up speed. And so I have good hopes for the fall quarter, not only that it will be in person with the students here, but also that we will be able to go back to many of the activities that we've been involved with in the course of time. So any other questions from Hong or Anna? And of course, you can ask them even later. We have a few more minutes left of our Zoom. Hong, did you want to say something? Or I okay. So if I may ask a few questions in general of my colleagues here, and then, for example, I'd like to invite Fosuke to speak briefly about the curriculum of the program. What are the classes? What's exciting about our curriculum?
I'm glad you asked that question because it was exactly what I would have spoken about, because we haven't really touched on it yet. So of course, everything changes depending on which quarter you're coming, but there are certain things that are always there. So I wanted you to be aware of that. Obviously, Professor Campani teaches cinema. She teaches a class in every quarter. So if you're interested in that, it doesn't matter which quarter you're coming in, you'll always get a cinema class, an art history class. We have sort of two main focuses in our curriculum. So the Renaissance, obviously we're in Florence, and then contemporary Italy, contemporary Europe, what's going on today here. And that plays out in various forms. It can be a class dedicated to, economics. It can be a class dedicated to race and identity in contemporary Italy. We have a mandatory class that is taught by John Hooper. He's a journalist. He works for The Economist. He writes for The Economist and other important international publications. His class on contemporary Italy is obligatory for all participants. And that sort of complements your other classes as well. And so depending, I wanted to mention again, to stay in touch with us, and this is especially for Hong, who's going to be coming a little later on, we know who our visiting faculty are going to be well in advance. So I don't know what your majors are. That's one piece of information that I don't think we got from you. But if you're trying to work your time in Florence to weave it, into your major and your greater plans, a lot of our classes fulfill WAYS requirements. Depending on your major, a given class might actually give you credit in your major. So be in touch with us about that, because as I said, Hong, we know already who our visiting faculty will be, not only this year, but the following year. So maybe if you're, I don't know, a hum bio major, you might want to come, and I'm throwing this is not, this is not what's actually maybe happening, but you might want to come in the fall as opposed to the spring. So that's something though that you can be in touch with us about, and we can help you with that. And I think I've mentioned, and then there are other, I just want to quickly touch upon, there are opportunities at local institutions. Professor Campani mentioned it earlier, but for example, studio art, we have options with a very good local institution called Accademia Italiana. students come from all over the world to study the fine arts there, to study fashion, things like that. We have a relationship with them. We have a relationship with the Maggio Musicale Fiorentino for those of you who want to continue music instruction, voice instruction. So there are a lot of opportunities. And also a lot of students do STPD classes as well. I don't know what your majors are, but if you need to do, you know, while you're in Florence, if you need to also do one of those classes that you must do in your, you know, junior year, freshman, you know, whatever, first quarter of your junior year, you can do that as well. And if you have any questions, you can just always reach out to me.
Thank you, Fosuke. This was very thorough and some great points. Think of your time here in Florence, not as time away from Stanford, but as very much part of your overall academic career. So find ways in which to bridge what came before in your education with your time here and with what will come after. That is, you know, your choice of a major, your spatial research project, and so on and so forth. Other point that Fosuke made, 2 classes are going to be mandatory while you're here. One is the Italian language class, and the other one is a class that you mentioned taught by John Hooper. So you will have 2 classes that will, you know, that will really guide you and help you in your getting to know the culture and the language. And so they'll go hand in hand. And they're a great way to immediately become familiar with things Florentine and things Italian. And especially Hooper's class will touch upon different iterations of the culture, from politics to local folklore to a number of other things. And then, of course, you know, there's the opportunity for you to look at the curriculum also as a way for taking classes that you would not normally take on the home campus and that are not necessarily available to you on the main campus. And so I would look at that also as a great opportunity. We have been attracting a lot of STEM majors in the past few years, and all that I hear them say is, you know, it's a wonderful, you know, I would have never taken an art history class on the home campus. And I'm glad to be able to have this opportunity now. And they go back thinking, you know, or having some sort of a very, very interesting new perspective to their studies, which will serve them well on a number of different levels. Giovanni has mentioned public service activities with a community of migrants here in town, and we do have classes on diversity each quarter because this is an important topic and a critical phenomenon all over the world. And so it's a small curriculum, of course, but we try to have some key classes that appeal to as wide a variety of majors as possible without the classes being generalistic. So, you know, they really do constitute dives into the topics to which they're part or a part. So it's a great set of classes, really, and they're also full of you know, all kinds of co-curricular activities. And so the art history classes, most of them will take you to site. You don't study art history in a classroom when you're in Florence. You go in front of the artwork that the class revolves around. We have guest speakers or field trips. So there are a whole set of opportunities around the classes, which are quite extraordinary. Having said this, since we're talking about the classes, Francesca, would you tell us why, you know, why, even though it's a requirement, so people don't have the opportunity to choose whether or not to take Italian, why is it exciting? And partly we've touched upon this already, but why is it exciting to take Italian and what to expect out of an Italian language class?
First of all, because it's fun learning a new language. That's one of the main reasons. And also because, as I said before already, because learning the language of the country that you're going to live for for a while, it's very important. Learning the Italian really teaches you something about the Italian culture as well. And it helps you, you know, the living in Italy will also get the learning process faster. So you will see that, like, even in just a couple of weeks, you will be able to understand few words, or to be able to ask for directions, or even just ordering a cafe or a cappuccino for breakfast in a bar, and everything in Italian. So it can really be rewarding from that point of view. So just in a couple of weeks, you will be able to, not saying speak fluently Italian, but you will be able to understand something and to like have a conversation with locals. And if you have a conversation with locals, you will get to know Italy and Italians a little bit more. So that's why I think it's really important to learn Italian. And of course, because it's a very beautiful language. It really is.
Thank you. Thank you. Alessio, can you tell us a little bit about our facilities, our program, our center?
Oh, okay.
Where is it and what is it like?
Well, so it's right in downtown, really close to Ponte Vecchio and to everything else that you do, Uffizi Museum, Piazza Signoria, Palazzo Pitti, it's there. It's a very beautiful center. We actually had the opportunity, thanks to the generosity of a donor, to acquire another part of the floor, to rent it out and restore it. And it's now, we both now have a part of the building that is facing the Via de' Bardi, which is a nice street, but in between buildings. But now we have the opportunity also to see and face the Arno River and have an amazing view of the Ponte Vecchio and the Uffizi and the dome and everything. Of course, there are all technological things that we can imagine. So Wi-Fi everywhere, lights that are all sustainable now. So energy saving, they go off if nobody's there. So everything is meant to be that way. And it's very comfy too. We're gonna have 2 beautiful new sofa for the student that can be moved and rearranged, such as sort of a puzzle. So I can't wait to see you guys over there, because it's important to give birth to all this new project that we had. So we were being very lucky to have the time to spend in thinking about a place for you guys in the heart of the city. So
thank you, Alessio. As you can tell, Alessio is very excited about our new center. He's been very much and directly involved in the refurbishing of the new wing that he just described. It's a place to study. It's a beautiful place. It's in a medieval / Renaissance, late medieval, early Renaissance building. It's a great place to study. There are a lot of study spaces. It's also a great place to invite your students, your friends, the students of from the local university to come over and maybe have a panini with you on the terrace overlooking the river. Our classes are going to meet at the Stanford Center. So you will be coming there every day. And as Alessio said, it's in the heart of the historical center of town, overlooking 2 areas. As Alessio aptly said, you overlook the river and the more monumental and beautiful part of town, but you also if you exited from the other door, so to speak, you are in a very Florentine, few tourists around area of town, where you can go and do your grocery shopping, go grab something to eat, or meet up with friends. It's near parks, 2 beautiful parks, city parks. One is right behind our office. The other one is a little further off, but few minutes to walk over there. So it's a great location, and it's a beautiful place, which invites you to look at Florence for what Florence is, you know, a modern town, a contemporary town, but also, you know, you will have the privilege to be able to call a major Renaissance palazzo in town your home. And so you will live in a place that bears witness to centuries of history of this country. I think we're coming to the end of our meeting. Can you, Fosuke, just in 1 minute, please tell us very briefly, what is a typical day in the life of a student in Florence?
Of course. So depending on the day of the week, but typically students will have Italian class every day, unless they're at an advanced level. Classes will meet every day. You know, most students will spend, I would say, a good amount of time at the center. But in a typical day, I think the average student also wants to spend some time exploring. So it'll be a mix of going to your classes, maybe going to grab a bite with a friend near the center and in the neighborhood that Professor Campani was talking about in San Nicolò. A lot of students like to run, for example, early in the morning along the river. It's a beautiful place to run or do whatever they do to sort of wake up in the morning. We also do a lot of things at the program. So a typical day might be also, I don't know, we're holding a drop-in lunch, as Giovanni mentioned earlier, or we're doing an evening lecture, or we have a Smellick family dinner, which we haven't talked about, which are dinners that are donor sponsored as well. And they give you opportunities to meet people that you otherwise might not meet. So, you know, people who are doing things in the world and that we think you should meet. And then, you know, a lot of time is spent living the city. I think this is fundamental. I think this is the big difference between, you know, being on campus and being in an overseas location, is that the city really is your classroom. So between a class, you know, between two classes, you have a couple of hours. So you go to the Boboli Gardens, or you go drop, you know, go to the, you know, Uffizi or whatever. And so
church, yeah.
This kind of ease of, you know, you just, Florence is also tiny. And so you step out and you say, you know, I'm going to go grab a bite, and then I'm just going to go to the Uffizi just to see the Botticellis. And you can do that. And I think that's kind of what the students love most about Florence, is that it's tiny. There are so many things to see. And so your typical day, you can really balance your academics with your other, you know, whatever else you have on your agenda for your time in Florence. I hope that did it.
Absolutely, and very well, and very well. So we are at time. We want to thank you both for coming to this meeting. It was fun. It's recorded. So if you have friends who, you know, are interested or would have been interested and could not come today, let them know that they'll go on our official YouTube channel. Maybe Alessio can post or send you the link, and you know, and they can be directed to those resources. We'll stay in touch, as Fosuke said, and all of us said, you know, be in touch with us, send us emails, and we will reply to them. Thank you very much. And I'd ask my colleagues to all stay for 1 more minute, because we have a meeting coming up and I just wanted to say something. Thank you, Anna.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ciao.